Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Ricky. Thanks for coming out tonight. It's good to see you all here. Everybody having a good weekend? So we're probably going to be running, thank you. Going to be a little bit of a gap between me and you, I think. It's looking like maybe 15 seconds or so. 10, 15 seconds. So I will try and grab comments from the chat, but just so you know, I won't be able to grab those right away. So if you throw something in chat, just know that I will be checking it. I will have my eyes on there, but it might take me just a little bit of time. How's everybody doing? We are doing very well in Japan here tonight. So as you guys might know, we are kind of deep in production season for Isiliel and for everything on this side. Thank you guys so much for the amazing support of everything that we've been putting out, for the international version of Moonbow Rebellion, for World Domination Volume 3. I wanted to say Sekai Seifuku Volume 3, but World Domination Volume 3, Seiki, that's coming up. So we have a lot coming out, and it's been very, very busy. So I see some guys are saying 3 a.m. where they're at. Thank you for staying up late. I really appreciate that. Also, I've got a little bit of background music going. I've also got my mic that we've been using in our recent live streams. If anything sounds a little bit weird, sounds a little bit off, please let me know. We can turn the music down, we can turn the mic up. But if it all sounds good to you guys, we will roll as we are. So yeah, I wanted to let you guys know about just kind of what we've been doing and some exciting things that we have coming up. We have some very exciting things coming up. So, like I said, the big ones we've been working on recently have been the international version of Moonbow Rebellion. That is very, very close to going to the press. So that should be up in just a couple of weeks. The photos are looking great. The layout's looking great. And we're going to have a couple special little bonus tracks for you on that. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. It's going to be cool. And the acrylics already came back looking amazing. Acrylics usually take a while, and we actually get those made in China. And right around this time of the year, they've got Chinese New Year's. So we wanted to get those up and out before we hit the Chinese New Year's. That takes maybe 2 or 3 weeks for things to kind of get back online during that period. So fortunately, we made it in right before there. Also, we just shot a new little project yesterday. So I don't know, we're going to be announcing that, probably announcing tomorrow or Monday. Just a little fun one, but if you guys enjoyed the first ASMR with Himari, the second one will be coming up very, very soon. So that's actually going to be coming out next week. So it's shot, it's in the can, we just need to edit it, and we're going to be good to go. So I hope you liked the first one. I wrote the script for both the first one and for the second one, and I know Himari said the script for the second ASMR was a bit more difficult. It was a little bit more involved, some more character acting in there. So I think it was cool, and I also got to do something which I haven't had a chance to do for a while, which was work with some prosthetics. Really, really simple prosthetics. And I'm very rusty, so they didn't look very good. But that's all kind of coming together for things we're going to be working on in the future. But I wanted to get a little bit of practice in on some low impact stuff like the ASMR before we jumped into bigger projects. I'm glad you guys like those. Thank you so much for checking out the ASMRs. That's something that was Himari's idea. But when she said, I want to do an ASMR video, I was like, wonderful, watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Please take all of these into account and use those as reference for when we record, because there's a lot of good content out there. So that's going to be coming up soon. And then we've also, the other new big ones, the summer tour, and then also the EP and album. So we've been really, really busy working on everything with those as well. The EP is coming along really well. I actually got some good news back because the EP is going to be partially a collab. And so I got a soft okay on some of the materials we sent over on the collab. The guys on the other side think it's cool. I'm waiting for the final okay on it, but that is a project that has been in the works for a very long time. We've hinted at that numerous times. And so if you guys have been checking the Isiliel, well, Twitter and Instagram, as well as Himari's, you might have an idea who we're working with on that. But that should be really, really cool. And the songs are coming together amazingly for the EP. Really, really, really good. And something not completely out of left field, but something very different from the usual Isiliel, the usual Isiliel kind of music that we're working with. So I think you guys are really, really gonna like it. And I'm really looking forward both to the songs as well as to the visuals, because I know we're gonna be able to do some amazing visuals, some really cool stuff for that. And the new album too, but the new album is still fomenting. It's very much in kind of the embryo phase right now. So we're working with that and putting a lot of things together, but it's gonna be a banger. We've got some bits and pieces, some fragments coming up, and they're all really, really cool. Really cool. The goal is to be able to let you guys hear a bit of that on the summer tour this year. So that's the big one. And then we just announced last night one of the big shows on this year's world tour, the show at the Underworld. So thank you guys for the really, really amazing response on that. I'm glad that a lot of people are looking forward to it. We really wanted to get that out there. To be honest, Himari really wanted to get out there, that information out there, because she said, all of my fans in Europe, the fans in the UK, I really want them to have have a lot of advance notice for when the show's coming up, so nobody misses out. I don't want anybody to miss out on this. Nobody can say, I've got work that weekend, or I'm gonna be out of town. We'll get it out as soon as we can. So 6 months, not quite 6 months, what was that? 5 months in advance. So 5 months is pretty good for us. A fan is asking about a Latin American leg of the tour. I would love to do a Latin American tour. I would absolutely love to, but I can't do that on my own. I have no contacts down there. I definitely do not feel, I've never been to Latin America myself, so I don't feel comfortable putting it together just on my own. If we had a promoter, if we had an event, if we had like a manager down there who would be able to help us put the tour together, I would love it. Oh, my internet is looking really bad. Hold on one second, guys. The internet just came back. We had a big dip. If you missed something, my internet shat the bed, but it looks like it's back on. So apologies for that. I'm not sure if any of that got cut out, but we would love to do a Latin American tour. I'd love to do. We've got a ton of fans. Himari was just telling me yesterday when we were shooting the ASMR video, she was saying every day she's getting messages from fans in Mexico, fans in Brazil. I know we're sending shipments to actually Chile a lot. We're sending a lot of merch to Chile. Oh, Derek, thank you so much. So hopefully the sound is back right now. This is why we use the rental office space for our live streams, because the internet here is pretty good, but every now and again you lose it. So Mexico, Chile, Brazil, I know we have fans down there. I'd love to go. We'll just kind of see how it goes. If we can get a connect, I would love to. The Brazilian fan is you. Thank you for that. So we really want to go. We really want to go, and Himari really wants to go, but I need to make sure it's safe. I need to make sure that it's going to be a success. So, but yes, we do want to go. down to Latin America. But for this year's world tour, you know, we're still putting things together. Some fans asked, is London... I'm the only Brazilian HEMA fan. You're not the only Brazilian HEMA fan. I know this because I'm sending packages to numerous Brazilian HEMA fans. I have the order records in our Bandcamp. The show in London is not going to be the only European tour, obviously, or the only European show. It's not going to be the only European country. We're working on a lot more. I've got some soft confirms. I've got some other kind of pans in the fire, some other events we're working on. We need to kind of bookend things a little bit, put things together, but just between you guys and me, let's say June, July is going to be Europe. It's going to be probably middle of June up through the end of July. Head back to Japan for some prep in August, and then the US is going to be early September on. We already announced Sacramento Anime. We're going to be putting a lot of other shows together around there, both on the East Coast as well as the West Coast. So that's all coming up soon, but it's all a work in process. And then also, this for us in Japan, we're on the last day of February. So coming up in March, I think you guys all know, a certain very important individual will be heading into her birthday season. So we're going to be working on some special surprises for March. And then April, we always have some special surprises for April. And I think we've got something really interesting, really cool worked out for what's coming up in April. So please, guys, be looking forward to all of that. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming out. But I kind of hinted a little bit that we had a, I don't know if we'd say big. It's kind of a big announcement. I think it's a big announcement. It's a new announcement. It's a very fresh announcement coming up today, and I wanted to talk about that. So as we go into March and into the spring, and we're in this kind of production side for Isiliel, there's something I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and we're going to give it a shot. We're going to see how it goes, but we're actually going to shoot a short movie. We're going to do a short film completely on our side, featuring Himari. And I think it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about it. We're actually pretty far along in the production process. And so we should have things to show you guys pretty soon. Sorry, just a little bit of a drink. I'm sure you guys know on my social media, I talk a lot about how I'm not a fan of generative AI. Not really a fan of kind of where it's going in terms of film, in terms of music, in terms of animation, and all of those areas. And there was a project that got announced about a month or two ago on this side that kind of spurred me into action. So I had been talking, actually from last year, I had been talking to Himari about wanting to do a short movie. And this project that got announced kind of really gave me the kick in the ass that I needed, to be blunt. You guys might know I'm a big horror manga fan. I love Japanese horror manga. And there was an announcement about a month ago that one of my favorite horror manga authors, illustrators, they're going to be doing a completely AI created version of one of his kind of classic, canonical 80s horror mangas. And it looks like an absolute mess. There's a trailer out for it right now, and it's sad. It makes me a bit sad. And it really makes me sad because one of the things that mangaka is known for were some very raw, shot on VHS horror movies, like really bizarre, out there horror movies based around his manga in the 90s. And I'm sure you guys might be familiar with kind of the Charlie Sheen Japanese quote-unquote snuff movie fiasco from the 90s. But if you're not, look it up. Charlie Sheen saw an underground Japanese horror film. He thought it was real. And he reported it to the FBI because he thought it was actually an actual snuff film. But it was based on a horror mangaka's ideas and created by a, yeah, some people are sniffing out where I'm headed with this. So to think that, you know, a mangaka, an author that I think is one of the kind of like, if you were going to take your top 5 horror manga authors of all time and put them out there, I think he would definitely be in the top 5, maybe the top 3. And to see that is really kind of sad, to be honest. So I said, okay, we can't let that stand. So we're going to do a short horror movie. We're going to do a short horror film. Himari will be kind of starring and featuring in it. It's going to be all handmade. It's going to be all hand shot. I'm not going to shoot it on VHS, although I would like to. Technically, that would be very difficult and time-consuming and expensive, actually. So we're not going to be going quite that far, but it's all going to be handmade and made with love, because I really love that era of, you guys might be familiar with V Cinema, which was kind of it was Toei project, but it was like a kind of direct-to-video movie series or kind of genre from the 90s that created a lot of really great kind of B-grade horror and crime movies. But if you guys don't mind me being an old guy, if you don't mind me reminiscing a little bit, I can still remember when I was in high school going to a local horror convention in the suburbs of Pittsburgh in the US. And I picked up a copy of The Japanese Ring on VHS. It was a bootleg, it didn't have subtitles, but this was before there was an official release. You couldn't get an official release of Ring in the US. And it was so cool to watch this movie about a cursed VHS video on a bootleg, low quality, non-subtitled, I didn't speak Japanese then, VHS video. You know, that was such a really amazing experience, and I would like to kind of keep that spirit in mind when we're doing this. So really, I came at this saying I was disheartened by that AI announcement, and it really was. But moreover than that, you know, I really love that era of filmmaking. I love that era of movies, especially horror movies. And so this isn't an anti-AI project so much as it is a love letter to that type of movie, that type of film, and that type of, yeah, that overall genre, that overall milieu, if you will. You guys have had sound only for a while. We'll give you some pictures. We'll give you some pictures to look at, just some shots from previous lives. And actually, one of the things about this, so I shot these photos myself, and I've been shooting a lot. I've been shooting a lot of our video, I've been shooting a lot of our still photos recently. So hopefully putting some of those skills, putting some of that very minimal experience into action on this project. So I'm going to be shooting it. Himari is going to be acting. Basically, it's going to be a 2-man show for this time around for the short film, but I think we can make something cool, something really interesting. Any news of Makai? No. They're actually, we heard about, I don't know if it's necessarily Makai. They were going to be doing some projects with the cast, with the Makai cast this year, but they were going to be like year-long projects. It wasn't going to be like a one-off or just a short stage presentation like last time. If you're not wrong, Himari shot Makai-related stuff, not recently. The last Makai stuff we did was maybe I want to say a year and a half ago, a year and a half ago. And to be honest, some of the Makai stuff we shot never got released. I don't know what happened to some of it. There were a couple Makai related projects that we went out and shot, and they were complete, at least from the shooting side, but they never came out. I don't know about those. And the stuff that was going to be done this year, they reached out to us, but since we were going to be on tour, since we were going to be recording, I basically said, can you tell me when it's going to be? Like, is it going to be January? Is it going to be June? And they didn't know when it was going to be shot. And I said, well, I can't block off the whole year for the project, so I don't know if it's going to work this time. So we don't have any Makai projects right now. But hopefully in the future, you know, we would love to do some more Makai stuff. I know Himari would love to do Persephone again. But, you know, with us kind of jumping around on tours and a lot of the projects kind of not being released, I don't know exactly where that situation is. Kind of coming back to the short movie, coming back to the short film. So we've only ever done one crowdfunding with Imperiate 4. And that was only because we were working with, it was the Akihabara Film Festival, Akiba Eigasai, many years ago. This is actually before Himari even joined. And one of the requirements for doing the Akiba Movie Festival was to be in the crowdfunding. I don't really like crowdfunding as a concept so much, just because I think if we're going to make a project, I want to make the project. I don't want to be blunt, hold the fans up and say, hey guys, if you don't pay for this, it's not coming out. It's not getting made. We're not going to do it. We really appreciate all the support, but we're not going to hold the project hostage, as it were. So for the short movie too, it's not going to be crowdfunded, but we are going to have, I think we lost the internet again. Internet may be back. We may have lost the sound for a moment. Just FYI, I think we're back now. We're not going to be doing a crowdfunding, but we are going to be doing a kind of supporter project. So the short film will be made one way or the other, but hopefully with the support of fans, we can do some more interesting things. We can make it a little bit bigger. We can make it a little bit more interesting. I would love to do an all-original soundtrack for it. It's not going to be that long. It's going to be under 10 minutes, I would say, for the short film. I would like to keep it around 5 minutes, but I think it's going to be a bit longer than that. Original soundtrack. I'd love to do some illustrated work. And as you guys know, there is no way we're going to do Gen AI illustrations, but I would love to hire some people to do some illustrations for the project. That would be another big thing that support would help with. Just some different things like that, you know, production related stuff. I've actually already bought a decent amount of gear, some new lenses, some new other camera equipment that we're going to need lighting for the film. So it would be good to pay that off. But basically, one way or the other, it's going to get made. We'll put up a supporter tier with some awesome benefits. If you guys want to support, cool. We would really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for always supporting all of the projects. But just so you guys know, too, it's going to be pretty soon. We're actually going to be shooting that in the coming weeks. It's going to be releasing in the spring. So I would say probably April release is very doable at this point. Currently, yeah, April would be a good month to shoot for that. It's going to be pretty fast. But I think it's going to be cool. We're going to be putting more information out on Twitter right after this stream finishes. And then we're also going to have much more information coming up in the next couple of days. So please look out for that. That is the big announcement for tonight, and that was something I wanted to do. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys look forward to it. A quick turnaround. Yeah, that is, and that's all thanks to Himari, just so you guys know. So Keep Himari out of the snow. There's no, unless we go out of our way to find snow, we're good. Unless we go up to the mountains in Nagano, or we go up to like they call them what is it, the Southern Alps in Japan. There's like, they're not the real Alps, they're not the Swiss Alps, but the Southern Alps here, we have no snow. It's been 20 degrees, 17, 20 degrees the last couple of days, so we're already seeing the plum flowers are blooming, sakura are apparently right around the corner. It's an early spring here. No complaints. So I got a bunch of really good questions for no more himasicles. No, not this time around. It's not going to be a snow-based. We're not going to do a recreation of the last part of The Shining. So Himari loves The Shining. I think that's actually her favorite horror movie, but I don't think she wants to recreate the last part of The Shining in this one, and I don't have the budget for it, so no worries there. We received a lot of really good questions. Gonna go through those now, so we'll kind of go into question time. Just as we've been doing now, if you guys throw some questions into chat, I think the easiest thing to do today would be to just kind of pick them up as they come, to pick them up as we go. But we'll go into question time. I did not copy the names for people for the questions, so these will just be a question from a fan, but I will jump into them as we go. So the first one, this question I've answered a bunch of times on streams and this and that and the other, but because maybe there's some people listening today who don't know, I will answer it in kind of a shortened form. How and when did you know that you wanted to be an idol producer? Was it a long time dream? I got started, the first time I worked with idols was probably almost 15 years ago now. I think it was about 15 years ago. The company I was working for did a youth festival in Malaysia. We ended up taking Momoiro Clover over for that youth festival. It was Momoiro Clover and Shoko Nakagawa, who's a kind of voice actress, not an idol, but adjacent to idols, personality model in Japan. And from that, I got kind of exposed to or interested in the idol scene. I came back to Japan from that. I started going to idol shows just as a fan, just because I thought they were cool. It was something interesting to do. This was kind of first generation BIS. It was before WAC was even an office. I don't know what their office was then, but I think WAC came around later, but it was just BIS. First generation Denpagumi. There was a lot of really cool underground new music coming out, and I got into it, and I started to see some of the groups were just produced by a guy. It wasn't a company, it wasn't an office, it was just some guy who said, I want to make an idol group. And I thought, oh, that sounds cool. You know, I like music, I like producing things, I like putting things together. I will just do that as sort of a kind of side hobby business. And I started doing that 10, almost 11 years ago now, I think. And here we are. It's now a full-time job. But yeah, I got into it really because I liked the kind of production side. I liked the creative side, the direction side. And so that's sort of the extension we've had coming out of there. And that's going to factor into a couple of the questions coming up as well. We've got a couple questions about tours. So how do you decide where to go on tour in the US and abroad? Do you figure out where the majority of fans live or where they're most likely going to live? It's partially that. So what I do a lot is I take a look at, there's a site called Bands in Town that we use that is like a sort of social media platform for announcing live events, for announcing shows. And so I can take a look at Bands in Town and see where our fans are from there. I can take a look at YouTube and see where our fans are there. I take a look at Spotify and see where our fans are there. I take a look at Bandcamp and see where our fans are from there. So I definitely look at kind of that info to see, okay, this sounds like a good idea. This sounds a little bit like it might be a gamble. maybe it will, maybe it won't work. But also depends on our friends and kind of the people helping us put the shows on. It's not just a one-man project to say, hey, we're going to do a show here. Boom, it's done. We've got really, really great staff and friends and supporters in all of these different countries helping us put the shows together, helping us put the shows on. And so a lot of it also depends on, hey, friend, can you help me set a show up in Los Angeles? Hey, friend, can you help me set a show up in Berlin? And kind of going from there, And that's a big part of it too, because if we just say, just Isiliel, boom, in a new city, that's a difficult sell. But if we've got somebody in there who can say, okay, at this venue with these openers or these other groups, I think we can make this work. I think we can fill the venue out. Then I say, okay, I can feel good about that and put it together. So it's a little bit of me doing research on where the fans are. It's also a little bit on my connections and who we know there and who can help us out to set things up. Are there any significant differences between touring in the US and in Europe? Yeah, I mean, the big one is kind of the size. The US is really, really big. It's really big. And so going coast to coast in the US is difficult. And kind of rounding through the US, we have a lot of fans in Texas who say, please come to Texas. We have a lot of fans in some other parts of the US and, would love to go there, but kind of routing the tour through there is a little bit difficult. That can be kind of tricky. Europe, it's a little bit more drivable. Even if I'm driving from, say, Berlin to Amsterdam, that's what, maybe a 10-hour drive, 9 or 10-hour drive, I think. Driving up from Amsterdam to Oslo is 17 hours, 16, 17 hours. It's not insane. You can do it in a day and a half, so it's a lot closer. I can get from Cologne to the UK by car in a day. It's not impossible. So that's a big one. Other than that, I mean, we've got a lot of really, really kind, really cool fans, both in Europe as well as in the US. I think, the vibes, the feel for doing shows is really pretty close. It's not that different. It's just kind of the geography and the logistics and things like that, It's not that big of a jump, I would say. It's pretty similar. But it's always interesting to see, like, in this city, a lot of people want t-shirts. In this city, people want acrylic figures. In this city, in the US, everybody wants vinyl records. Everybody wants analog records. So that's the other big project for this year, is the analog versions of the albums. Really working on that coming up in the next couple of months. And the gears are turning on that, but it's also Rebellion International version, this, and then, okay, we'll have vinyl. But everybody in the US wants vinyl. Not to say that there aren't vinyl fans in Europe as well, but for some reason, I always get the question, where's your vinyl in the US? That's the big one. This is an interesting question. What are some ways you and Himari keep mental health and morale intact when touring and traveling? It's a lot, yeah. They're long tours, they're very stressful tours, and it can be easy to get tired. For Himari, she said this a bunch of times, so you guys probably already know. I could actually probably throw this into chat, and maybe you guys could answer it. Himari has 3 things that she needs on tour. They are a soft bed, a warm shower, and hot food. Those 3 things. So for Himari, I think her mental health and morale are very, very tied in to a soft bed, a warm shower, and a hot meal. So that's top in priority wherever we're touring for her. But one thing I've realized for Himari as well that's really important to her is a schedule and kind of knowing what's coming up, knowing what tomorrow is going to hold, knowing what the 1-week schedule or the 2-week schedule out is going to be, especially on tour. And so that's something I was never good at. I'm not the really kind of, what would you say, like managerial type. I'm not the kind of scheduling office work type of guy. That's not where my brain flourishes. So the last couple years, it's really been kind of getting the schedules down, getting planning, making sure that everything's communicated well. And I think that helps a lot to keep her stress down, and mine as well. Because Derek said cheap ramen. Yes, cheap ramen is very, very important. It's to the point now where if we're leaving Japan or we're going through, say, China or a country where like cup noodles are cheap, I'll just buy maybe 4 or 5 cup noodles, throw them in the suitcase, and at least we have those. So absolute worst case scenario, we've got some cup noodles in the suitcase. As long as we have hot water, we've got something. Because sometimes you get to areas, this actually ties in, this is something I didn't think about when I was answering that last question, touring in the US versus touring in Europe. In Europe, things close, things shut down. In the US, in most big cities, in most bigger areas, 24-hour fast food, at least, you know, open until midnight or 1 a.m., restaurants, fast food, things like that. I know sometimes after we finish shows in Philadelphia, there's like 1 or 2, if not 24-hour, open till like 1 or 2 in the morning Chinese restaurants, so you can get Chinese takeout after the show and at least have like hot food that you can take home with you. In LA, there's a ton of things open all night, or basically all night. In Europe, you know, you get to 11 o'clock, maybe there's a kebab shop, maybe. And sometimes there's nothing, you know. Metz in France, I love Metz. I really, really, really love playing in Metz. We have a lot of fans in Metz. I love Metz as a city. There is nothing in Metz after 10 o'clock at night. Nothing. Good luck. So you really need to say, okay, you know, at least we've got cup noodles. At least we've got something for after the show. Hey, fans from Philly, thank you so much. Would love to get back to Philly. Love Philly. And also some fans from France as well. But that's a big difference. But, you know, having that stuff planned out in advance, because when you're on tour, there's always going to be unexpected things. There's always going to be, you know, twists in the road, or something didn't happen the way it was supposed to, something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. So having as much planned out as possible really helps Himari, and it helps me a lot too. The next picture, this one was not by me. This is from the last UK show, so I didn't shoot this. Somebody much more talented than me shot this picture, so I don't want to take credit where credit is not due. But for me, I think the big morale and mental health stability, the big buoy is just beer. As long as I have some beer, I'm okay. You know, when everything's all done, when all the work's finished, have a beer while replying to some emails, and I'm good. Next question, kind of moving on. As the producer, what's my role in the creative process going from concept to album? So what I'll usually do, what I kind of start out with is I'll come up with the ideas. Like, okay, let's kind of have this story, you know, because all of the Isiliel albums are concept albums. So where do we want the story to go? What kind of emotions, what kind of situations, what kind of scenarios do we want to show in there? And a lot of that I'll kind of draw from my own experience, or from Himari's experience that she's told me, or that I've read about in her blogs, or things that she's posted. So kind of really tapping into those emotional cores, like that, the emotional kind of lodestones, I guess you could say, putting the story together, and then, you know, talking to Nikolai, who does all the songwriting, and saying like, this would be cool to have kind of an 80s NWO BHM, really fast, almost like D-beat kind of drumming, really powerful, inertia-driven song. You know, for this one, really tragic, really kind of like violently emotional kind of material. And then, you know, talking to, in that process also, Nikolai will have a lot of ideas that he comes up with. Himari will have a lot of ideas that she comes up with, and kind of linking those together. I think for the second album, Serpent So Bod was one where Nikolai really kind of took that kind of seed and he just kind of went, you know, he really, really grew that seed in some unexpected, crazy directions, and kind of riding that path together and just saying, okay, like, hey, let's bring a little bit of this in, let's bring a little bit of that in. I'll always bring kind of weird ideas and like, hey, we should have some, you know, goblin style giallo synths coming in here, or we should have, you know, this kind of guitar tones, usually Nikolai, but I'm usually the like weird synths, weird drumming, background noises. Himari will have a lot of kind of influence as well, like saying it should be more foresty here. I'd like this kind of sound or that kind of sound to come in there. Hey, fan from Russia, thank you so much for tuning in. It's cool to see fans really from all around the world coming in for these kind of streams. Thank you so much for that. So it's basically laying down that map, I would say, that the kind of groundwork for the album, and then also kind of like carving the paths in. So we've got all these other ideas, we've got these new concepts, and kind of keeping it on the straight. And then also the part that I really don't like is keeping things on schedule. I'm not good at that, but I'm trying to get better. Keeping things on schedule, budgeting, making sure that we're in budget, making sure that everything's kind of coming together. So like last year we recorded the second album in Bergen in Norway. So what's the time period? You know, how many songs do we need to do in a day? How many hours a day are we going to record? Getting all the travel accommodations and the travel plan set, all of that. And then when we've got the, you know, through the recording, a lot of, Nikolai did the recording direction, but kind of doing direction along with him, you know, working together between him and Himari. So a lot of it's translation, interpreting, stuff like that too. Sorry, I'm taking this question. I do a lot. I guess I have to do a lot when it comes to that. Working with the mixes, I don't do the mixes, but kind of, you know, working with Nikolai or the engineer on the mixing and the mastering. The visuals, I direct the videos, I kind of like send the influences, the ideas for the music videos. I do the storyboarding, the, I guess you could say the scripts, the like overviews for the videos and everything. It's a lot. Doing the layout, the visual layout, but still. There's a lot of steps going from start to finish for an album. It's a very, involved process. But yeah, sorry, keep going on. The next question is, what's the most challenging part for me as a producer? New merch ideas, making the music video, that's the stuff I like. I like doing the sorry. I like doing the music videos, I like doing the merch. Those are the fun parts for me. The parts that are challenging are budgeting, finances, tour planning, like booking the flights, booking the hotels, you know, doing all of that, scheduling, coming up with the timetables and the schedules and all of the nitty-gritty. Those are the parts that I have difficulty with. I don't really love doing that kind of stuff. And you know, when you're talking about doing an album too, you got to talk about, okay, the royalty breakdowns, the percentages, the rights, the copyright, all of this other stuff. So that's the kind of nitty-gritty that I'm not a huge fan of. Oh, drop the sound. I did not see that. Thank you for the update. Making the props too. Yeah, I did do that Hellgate. I made that by hand. So I love that stuff. If I'm, you know, in a workspace, just like working with building materials and paint and stuff like that, I love that. That's my favorite part of the process, probably, is just making shit. But then, you know, having to actually do the numbers, I don't like doing the numbers. Next question's a good one. What are your current goals for the Isiliel project? Is it to produce at rock festivals and get people excited, or do you have a more ambitious goal in mind? This kind of ties in. Like, I love doing tour. I like playing shows. We would love to play festivals. We're working on festivals for this year. That is a big goal, but it's not my big goal. Like, my big goal is not to say play Download Festival or, you know, play some big music festival. I would love to do that stuff, but that's not the part that really gets me out of bed in the morning, as it were. It's cool. It's super cool. I love it, but I really like producing things more. You know, I like making the music videos. I like doing the photo shoots. I love putting the layouts for the photos together. Lately, I really like shooting things. You know, I really like just kind of shooting the visuals, shooting the videos. Like, that stuff's really, really fun. That's sort of where I shine, what I really enjoy. So in terms of big goals for me, I want to make bigger things. You know, I want to make bigger projects. I would love to do some really big, massive music videos that have a lot of really cool conceptual flourishes. I'd like to do some really interesting new songs that are things we haven't done before, you know, genres we haven't worked with before, types of music we haven't worked with before, just big, epic music. And also rough, really unpolished, really raw music too. You know, I don't want everything to be, I think in kind of the day and age we're in right now, everybody goes big, you know, it's all kind of super polished, super clean, super, you know, it's on the grid, as they say for music, right? It's all on the grid. So the drums are all precise, the music's all precise, the singing's all precise. You need that, it's necessary, but it's not my favorite part. I like the kind of raw, emotional, abrasive, actually, elements of the music a lot. So kind of bringing that in as well. Kind of similar. Would you like to do a big public event like Japan Matsuri in Trafalgar Square, or do you think Isiliel is too niche for a mainstream stage like that? I'll do it. I do it in a heartbeat. I do it in a heartbeat. We adapt the show to the stage. We adapt the performance to the event, you know? So it's like the show that we're going to do at an anime convention, the show that we're going to do at, you know, a big metal fest is going to be different than the show that we would do in a little club in front of just hardcore Isiliel fans. You know, it's different than the show we would do in, say, like an art installation or, you know, a really specialized kind of musical theater kind of event. So, you know, I would never say we wouldn't do it. I would 100%, if they said have us, sure, do it in a heartbeat. I'd love to. It'd be super cool. And, you know, you never know, right? Because that's how you meet new fans. That's how fans find out about you, is playing these kind of events that nobody would expect, that nobody would expect to see you at. And who knows who that music is going to resonate with. Yeah, so talking about metal fests, you know, for Hellfest or something like that, if we got an email from Hellfest tomorrow, do you want to play? Yes, we will play it in a heartbeat. No problem, we'll be there. Is that my like end goal for the project? No, not at all. It's cool, it's super awesome, but it's not, you know, the big thing that I want to do with Isiliel. And I think for Himani and I too, when we created Isiliel, we said we want to make music for people who are having a hard time in life. We want to make music for people who are going through a rough time, who are hurting, who are, you know, feeling pain or feeling despondency, depression, and, you know, make music that can kind of inspire them and kind of say like, hey, you can stand up and fight another day. Can you meet people like that at a music fest? Of course, 100%, totally. But, you know, we're not going out there to say like, okay, let's just make this arena rock. You know, we're not making jock jams for the fantasy scene. I think it's a little bit different than that. But, you know, it's all cool. I like it all. Somebody asked to recommend bands they would like. It's hard to find out about good overseas bands. So I just wrote a couple down for this. Just some bands that I love or that I've been listening to. I might have shouted these guys out before. This is not all new music. A lot of it's older. On the kind of metal, black metal side, what I've been listening to recently, as for a lot, is summoning. I love summoning. I was just listening to summoning pretty much all day yesterday. I had to go out and walk around Tokyo and buy a bunch of things for shoots and projects coming up. And anytime I'm going through kind of the crowds, like the sea of people in Shinjuku, to get to the place where they sell special effects makeup or special fabric, I always have like some summoning or some really like not depressing, uplifting black metal, some atmospheric black metal going so that I can kind of get through the sea of humans. Another one similar to summoning, Windier, is also really, really cool if you like atmospheric kind of not like super raw black metal, but emotional atmospheric black metal. Windier is great. I've been listening to a lot of dungeon synth. I've been listening to a lot of kind of fantasy synth recently. Dim, D-I-M, put out a new album about a week or two ago. Dim 5, I think it is. It is excellent. If you at all like dungeon synth or fantasy synth music, or just need music for chilling out, for a role-playing game, for just getting work done or whatever, the new Dim is amazing. I've been listening to a lot of Questmaster. Questmaster is kind of like really, it's dungeon synth, but it's really like RPG, kind of like old school, like fantasy, like wizard dungeon synth. And another cool one is Atlantean Sword. Atlantean Sword is a little bit more epic. It's like, I would say like Conan synth almost. It's like sword and sandals fantasy synth. It's really, really cool. And one of my big favorites that I listen to all the time, and is one of my all-time on the drive home from a show on tour, Hole Dweller. If you haven't listened to Hole Dweller, listen to Hole Dweller, because Hole Dweller is spectacular dungeon synth. So sorry, my recommended bands are 60% dungeon synth, 40% atmospheric black metal right now, but that's just where we're at. That's where we're at in the process. Are there any Japanese artists you would like to collaborate with? This is the last question. And I would like to wrap up by about 9 o'clock, so in about 8 minutes, 5 or 8 minutes right now, because we're going to be doing the announcement on the, I just flipped my clipboard that had my printouts on it, because we're going to be doing the announcement, so we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. If you guys have any last questions or comments, please throw them in the chat now, so I can take a look at them. I was kind of looking at the questions here for a bit, so I might have missed some. I don't think I missed too many. Are there any Japanese artists you would like to collaborate with? I gotta be honest, like right now, not off the top of my head. The last Japanese artist I reached out to collaborate with, they weren't able to do it because of rights issues. It was not a straight up new music collaboration. I wanted to see if we could do an Isiliel version of a song that they had done quite a while ago. And they were like, nah, the licensing for it is all tied up. We can't do it. Good, but we can't. Cool, no problem. There's a lot of that in Japan. It's a lot of rights issues and a lot of management issues and a lot of kind of red tape. It's not easy. If we were going to collaborate with somebody in Japan, to be honest, it's probably going to be something completely out of left field, I would say, like something really, really just out of the blue. I don't have any plans right now to collaborate, for example, with like any of the big Japanese bands or any like Japanese metal bands per se. If we had something come up, of course, I would love to talk about it, but at the moment, it's not on the docket, as they say. It is not on the docket. And with that, that is it for all of the questions. Thank you, guys. Those were really good questions. Those were really interesting, voluminous questions, as it were. So thank you guys for the amazing follow in chat. Thank you guys for the amazing support of everything. Maki Oyama, two metal queens reunited. I mean, that's one of those things where it's kind of like, you know, you want to get your chocolate and your peanut butter, right? You want to get your chocolate and your peanut butter. And chocolate and your peanut butter are two kind of totally different things. It's like there is something to be said for double chocolate, but you know, on our side, it's like I want to be kind of bringing in those different kind of. I'm kind of a chocolate mint guy, you know. I like chocolate mint. So two completely different flavors that work well together. Himari does not like chocolate mint. Just FYI, for your information, she's not a fan. A Parisian gig. I am working on a Parisian gig. I am working on French gigs right now. I was actually just talking with some of our friends in France yesterday about shows in France. So please stay tuned. I can't promise Paris, but I can promise we will have shows in France this year. There will 100% there will be French shows. Whether or not they are in Paris, I don't know. I don't like driving in Paris. I hate driving in Paris. Paris is a wonderful town. I wouldn't want to live there, but it's a wonderful town. Thank you guys so much too for all of the amazing positivity. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any other questions or any other things you want to ask about, you can always throw them out to my X on Twitter, Twitter, and I will try and get back to them on there. So if there's anything I missed or anything we didn't cover today, throw them out there. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you enjoy the new projects we have coming out. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and please be looking for the Moomba Legion tour. Is going to be big. It's going to be a very, very, very big tour. So lots of news coming out about that. So please. Makomai is trying to get me shadow banned on YouTube by saying a word that I shouldn't say on there. No, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you again soon. And if you enjoyed this, hopefully we will do volume 3 in the future. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you soon. This is Ricky signing off.